Hello friends, thank you for joining me today. In previous sessions like this, we found that non-dual meditation is closely connected with inquiry. The practice of inquiry into what is real and lasting within and around us, called vichara in Sanskrit. I think it would be beneficial for us to reflect together a little further about the value of this inquiry before we come to our meditation today. In meditation, we focus on symbols and statements which lead us towards the reality that underlies appearances and where lasting fulfillment and security are to be found. This is also the reality underlying our own appearance, our I am. In order to absorb ourselves in those symbols and statements, we have to develop a preliminary understanding of them. And we do this through vichara, which means listening to and then reflecting on the non-dual teachings as presented by an illumined source. Then meditation practice is a further means of inquiry. Making the mind one-pointed, we proceed from an understanding in principle to the discovery in our own awareness of the abiding truth that sets us free from all anxiety and dissatisfaction. We noticed before that an important question arises. How can our mind understand the great reality of which the mind is a fragment? When we see how deep this question goes and realize that our usual methods of investigating things in the world have limited range, then we become seekers of universal truth. We will understand that guidance is needed here. Friends, I would like to highlight one of the principles that can guide our deeper inquiry. It is simple, yet profound and challenging in its implications. It is that ultimate reality, the highest truth, does not change. Whatever we encounter in our vichara, let us ask, does this change? If so, we can be sure that it is not the complete and final truth. The great lesson to be learned from everything that changes is, keep on, keep going. This is not yet your highest goal. Equally, wherever we find indications or evidence of something that is beyond and free of change, we may be confident that this is worthy of further investigation in our quest for deeper knowledge and fulfillment. Let us consider how we can apply this guiding principle. First, we may ask, do we find anything in our experience that does not change? Do we? Our initial response might be, no, nothing. Nothing does not change. If we just look around with open eyes, or through telescopes and microscopes, all our life experience teaches that everything changes what is real. And we may be inclined to add that this is all for the good, because change is what makes life interesting and progressive. But has our investigation so far been adequate and complete? Let us note carefully that in our own experience there are two elements. There is everything that we experience, all that comes through our senses and our mental reactions, and there is also the consciousness to which all this is revealed. That which is experienced is all certainly ever changing. Yet the one who is aware of all this is entirely unchanging. Is this not the case? Our consciousness witnesses all that changes equally, itself unchanged. According to our temperament, the truth and importance of this conclusion may impress us in different ways. If we have a rational, analytic turn of mind, we might become logically convinced that in order to perceive all the changing objects, there must be a perceiver that does not change. Or we may be more emotionally centered and somehow just be intuitively certain that there is something unchanging in me. Otherwise, I would just not be me. These intimations are right. We have found an essential element of experience that does not change. And it is our consciousness, our awareness. To put that another way, we have found that what does not change is our true self, our innermost being. Our bodies change, our minds change, but the one who witnesses all this change, the I am, is beyond change. This is why our inquiry, our vichara, can lead towards complete self-realization and well-being that nothing can take away, even as we come towards the end of our life. Having looked within, let us ask again, is there anything in the world around us that is permanent, untouched by the flux of change? Is there? All aspects of nature, from subatomic events to galaxies, display changing states. But what do we find if we turn our attention from the parts to the whole, to the totality in which all the parts exist? Total reality, the complete whole, is what has been called the Absolute, Supreme Being, God, in Sanskrit, Brahman. We cannot think of this in the way we think of separate things, yet this Absolute Brahman is of supreme interest, because in it we live and move and have our being. How might we approach direct knowledge of the Absolute? Where are we to look? Here we see the need for special care and guidance in our inquiry. Usually the word where means where in space and time. But on reflection, we understand that total reality did not come into being at a moment in time and a place in space, because that would suggest that time and space existed before reality. The supreme truth then is not limited by space and time. We say that it is infinite, meaning not that it is infinitely large or long-lasting, but that it transcends space and time entirely. And where time does not apply, change cannot arise. The absolute reality then is transcendent and immutable. How, we may ask, does this world of variety and change come to be, if the total reality, which is apparently its ultimate source and substratum, is never touched by time and change? How? This question has occupied and defied philosophers for millennia, and the answer cannot be encapsulated in thought or words. The way to deeper knowledge is to look within, not to ideas and objects that are separate from ourselves, but to our own consciousness, which is the ultimate light of awareness within us. So what we can explore directly is our own consciousness and the contents of experience and how they appear to be related. The consummation of this inquiry, rightly guided, is the highest self-knowledge that will reveal to us the truth about the apparent connection between ourselves and what we experience. And it will also reveal the truth about the apparent relation between the absolute, supreme being and the finite phenomenal world. Friends, the ultimate fact underlying all our meditations and practices is that our true self is not essentially different from the Supreme Being. The apparent differences and separations arise when all is viewed from a particular point in space and time. In reality, there are no points of view, no gaps or separations. At first, we hear these indications from an illumined source. If we wish to pursue these ideas, we use our powers of reflection and our feeling for beauty and harmony to absorb and understand them in principle. Then, at the meditation time, we take the subjects for our meditation as an explorer takes a compass, and we turn our whole attention in one pointed focus on what the symbols and statements indicate. At every step, we will be saved from many delays and dead ends if we remember the guiding principle that the highest reality does not change. For example, we may find an idea forming in our mind of the Supreme Being, the ultimate source and sustainer of the world. Then let us bravely ask, does this, as I have conceived it, ever change? Could that ever change? Similarly, as we investigate the inner light of our own awareness, we might ask, what I have discovered so far in direct experience, does this change? Could this change? At times, we may be visited by apparently unusual experiences and wonder, what does this mean? Is it important? How can I get it back? Does it make me special? It is easy to become preoccupied by such matters, which are all ultimately productions of the unquiet mind. At all such times, we may simply ask ourselves, is this changing? Could this ever change? If so, then pass on, pass on. It may teach us a lesson, but is not the final destination. All of life is enhanced if we learn to lightly and lovingly allow everything that changes to go and pass on. And if we pursue the inner inquiry, treating everything with due respect and love, while binding ourselves to nothing finite, we will find a new light and transparency dawning within, revealing the reality beyond thoughts and words, fulfilling our deepest needs and infinitely surpassing them, our own ultimate being. Now, let's come to our meditation practices for this time. It is recommended to begin each meditation session with an inner preparation. Why is that? Most of the time we deal with the world using our own abilities. In meditation, we have to make efforts, but the aim is to connect up with a power much greater than our individual capacities. To do that, we need to come to meditation relaxed, alert, and receptive. The best way of cultivating those qualities is to consciously remember how much we have to be grateful for in this life, and how much we do not yet know about the powers that brought us into being. For a few moments, let's rest our attention on this thought. There is so much to be grateful for in this life, and so much we do not yet know about the powers that brought us into being. Now we're going to do a breathing practice. Breathe consciously. Let the breath become a little deeper and slower than usual. Now, with each in-breath, say to yourself inwardly the word stillness. With each out-breath, the word fullness. Stillness indicates perfect peace. Fullness indicates complete satisfaction. Let us do this breathing practice together now for 4 minutes. Breathe consciously. With each in-breath, say to yourself, stillness. With each out-breath, fullness. Conscious breathing. On the in-breath, stillness. On the out-breath, fullness. Next, we're going to practice being the observing witness of our mind. Simply observe the appearance of whatever thoughts and feelings come into the mind. To avoid becoming lost in any of them, say to each thought when it has appeared, "Not now, not now," and continue to rest in the witness consciousness. So the practice involves being alert, standing back from your thoughts, and knowing that you can choose what to think about or not. So let us do the practice together now. Observe the appearance of whatever thoughts and feelings come into the mind. To avoid becoming lost or identified with any of them, say to each thought when it has appeared, "Not now, not now," and continue to rest in the witness consciousness. When a thought arises, say to it, "Not now, not now," and continue to rest in the witness consciousness. Let us now meditate on this text. The mind and the world are ever changing. My real self is beyond the changes, eternal, infinite, self-luminous. Repeat the text inwardly a few times, then absorb your attention in what it indicates. If your attention wanders, bring it back to the text and what it points to in your own being. Let us meditate together now. The mind and the world are ever changing. My real self is beyond the changes, eternal, infinite, self-luminous. The mind and the world are ever changing. My real self is beyond the changes, eternal, infinite, self-luminous. The mind and the world are ever changing. My real self is beyond the changes, eternal, infinite, self-luminous. My real self is beyond the changes, eternal, infinite, self-luminous. We began our session with an inner preparation to help us turn our attention from the outer objects and focus on our mind and the inner light. It is also helpful to close the meditation consciously before we take up again our responsibilities. In this way, we can keep the meditation time special and also let the new understanding permeate our outlook on the world. Let's close our session today by focusing for a few moments on this thought. May everyone, everywhere, find the unchanging source of peace and security within themselves. May everyone, everywhere, find the unchanging source of peace and security within themselves. Thank you for reflecting and meditating with me today.